And this brings me to my final point. Menzies was a man of prudence who mastered the art of exercising political power across the Parliament, the public service, the Liberal Party and the Australian people. Troy Bramston has done us a great service in his chapter, The Art of Power, demonstrating how prudence was the key to Menzies' success as Prime Minister. In our age of limitless communication, shaped by President Trump and the excesses of social media, Menzies looks more like a marbled statesman from the classical era than the flesh and blood tick-tocking politician of today. But I think prudence and temperament is the difference here. He learned from his failure of his first term as Prime Minister and became an astute observer of people and a master of political machinery. Bramston notes his love of Shakespeare and relates an anecdote of Menzies losing an argument in Cabinet, retreating to his office for a time to read the Bard, then regathering himself and returning to Cabinet. This was also a habit of Lincoln, retiring to find solace in the plays of Shakespeare. He too was also another fine observer of human nature who understood what made people around him tick. And I think the connection here is that Menzies had a well-furnished interior life, which informed his perspective, his wisdom, and his judgment, honed by experience in the cockpit of politics, no doubt. But we cannot understate the importance of Menzies having a disciplined mind shaped by extensive reading in history and literature. Perhaps that led to a more considered approach in leading his party, his parliamentary colleagues and the country as Prime Minister. Perhaps prudence rather than impulse is the lesson we can take from his political leadership. I had coffee a few years ago with Sir William Heseltine, Menzies' Principal Private Secretary in Perth, who shared with me how Menzies dealt with thorny issues. He said that Menzies kept a safe and he would often store unresolved paperwork in it. It was Sir William's job to clear it out every so often, and he would often recover unactioned documents that had been resolved through the passage of time. Menzies didn't rush into things, and that's a lesson for us, I think, as we fight the cultural programming of instant gratification with all its swipes and endless scrolling. The documents in the safe were, like Lincoln's unsent letters, signs of a practical man who knew that hot-headed ideas needed to cool down and most anger-fueled thoughts needed to quietly disappear.